Yeah, she's got some nice long hair.
Welcome back to the Unbearable Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Barron, and ladies and gentlemen, it is the start of the NFL season. I am going live while there's football going on right now. I think it's the Bills and the Rams right now. Would be a great game. Right after this, I'm going to jump off and watch that. But if you're watching out there on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe. And also, if you're listening out there, anywhere that you get your podcast, make sure to rate 5 stars. Just have to search for Unbearable Sports, and you can find us anywhere that you get your podcast. We continue to raise money for the Thorn organization, giving 20% of what we make over to them. And also, we will add an additional $1 for every 5-star rating that we get out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So anywhere that you go, just make sure to rate 5 stars. You can help an organization that helps fight against child trafficking. Just an absolutely great organization to support. And that's why we wanted to partner up with them. But let's get into the preview. So the Chicago Bears will be going against the San Francisco 49ers this weekend. So to get you ready today, we are going to be breaking down some news, some injuries, and also kind of talk about some of the big position previews throughout this game. But also tomorrow, I'll have Steph Sanchez from 49 Carats, the podcast on. She is an expert, all things 49ers. So we can hear from a 49ers fan and someone who covers the team what they think about this upcoming game. And on Saturday, we have another incredible episode where I'll actually be kind of doing a computer simulation of what the Bears season will be. So you definitely want to stay tuned for that. It's going to be cool. I have no idea what's going to happen. So you want to make sure to stay tuned for that. But let's focus just on week 1. And guys, I don't know about you, but the more that I see all the hate stuff about the Chicago Bears, the more Kool-Aid I'm drinking, right? The more Chicago Bears Kool-Aid I feel like I'm drinking this week, because I seriously was going into this thinking with this preview, maybe I go Bears, maybe I go San Francisco. But right now I am so just like, the Bears need to win this game. They need to show what they're made out of. And I think that we're going to be fired up and we're going to be going crazy. So I can't wait. So like I was saying before, what are we going through today? Injury report and some news, then positional breakdowns, and then last but not least, going through the game predictions and what I think is going to end up happening officially. But let's first start out with this injury report. So the biggest injury news is the Chicago Bears was Velus Jones, first off, not participating this week so far in practice. I'm recording this Thursday night. He has not participated Wednesday and Thursday with a hamstring injury. My guess, we don't know all the ins and outs of this injury. My guess is that he's not going to be out there on the field. So I want to see him, but it just, to me, I would guess that it's probably unlikely that he will be out there on the field. The other person that's been banged up is Dominique Robinson. So Dominique Robinson has been limited on Wednesday and Thursday, but luckily it's not crazy news for one thing. So he's just going to be limited he's been limited in practice. If he's not playing, not a huge deal, because we do have Kingsley as the backup. We have Travis Gibson, we have Al-Qadim Muhammad. We have a lot of other backup players out there that should be able to play well for this team. So I'm not really too concerned. But also the big news, like I said, the big news is the person that actually is not practicing right now, or is practicing and not on the injury report. That player is Lucas Patrick. Lucas Patrick, I'm looking at it right now, just to kind of make sure that I have this up. He does have a cast while practicing this week, and there's still some up in the air. Is he going to be playing guard? So that's going to be something just to be on the lookout for. Is he going to be center or is he going to be guard? Personally, if I was the Chicago Bears, what I would do is I would have Lucas Patrick play center. If he has a cast, I would not let him play center. I'd let Mustafa be the starter and wait for him to come back just so that you keep that continuity. But it seems like he might be at guard. We just have to see what ends up happening. I don't know why all this pushback with Tevin Jenkins. Just let Tevin Jenkins play right guard and wait till Lucas Patrick can take the cast off and just not have to practice with anything on his hand and just let him snap. So that's just something to be on the lookout for this week because he's not technically on the injury report. So technically he's full participant and full go, but I just want to see what ends up happening. Just something to be on the lookout for. I don't think it really moves the needle either way, but the only way that I think it does is if you have Lucas Patrick actually as your starting center and knowing that he is potentially banged up. And Justin Fields and him haven't had a lot of snaps together because it's really been with Mustafa. I hope that doesn't happen because I really don't want to come here at the post-game show and say, listen, we had a couple bad snaps. That's the thing I don't want to be saying on this show come Sunday night. But let's move on to the other big news with the injury reports. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the 49ers, that George Kittle has not been practicing. He hasn't practiced today on Thursday. He didn't practice on Wednesday. There's also been a lot of reports out there that George Kittle is not going to be playing, that most likely they're going to rest him for a week. Or a lot of people are saying he would probably benefit from taking a week off. Now, the graphic for those that are actually watching out on, for those watching out on YouTube, you kind of see they don't actually have a nice, pretty graphic. You just have to grab whatever's on ESPN. But the only other person that's been banged up is Dre Greenlaw. We haven't gotten an update from him. So my guess is that he's back at practice. He's practicing. So he should be all systems go. I don't expect him not to be out there at all. But George Kittle is going to be the person to be on the lookout for if he's actually going to be playing this week. I also pulled up an interesting stat. So you can follow me out at Unbearable Sport. I threw this out here that George Kittle, when he has played, the 49ers over the past 3 years have gone 66%. So 24-12. While if George Kittle is out, they are just simply 5-8. So a measly 38% winning percentage. So when Kittle's not out there, this is a whole new team. Because Kittle, what makes him so great and what makes this offense work so well is he is an incredible run blocker, incredible blocker out there, and a great pass catcher. One of the best tight ends in the league. So if you don't have him out there inside of this offense, it looks completely different. It looks completely strange. And that's why if Kittle's not out there, by all means. Now, the big question, was Kittle out there last game that the Bears were playing with them? Yeah, he was. I mean, actually, he wasn't, but we still lost. That was one of the wins that they got when Kittle was out. But really, when Kittle has been out, this team has struggled. So that's something that I'm hoping for. I have him on my fantasy team. I don't care. That's fantasy. This is real life. I don't want to see George Kittle out there. And I really hope he just takes a week and rests his groin injury so that we don't have to see him because that changes everything if he is not able to be out there. But that's about it from like a news perspective or just some of the big pieces and also some of the injuries. But let's get into the actual nitty gritty of this game. So what I'm going to start out with is just so that we understand a little bit more about this 49ers team. I thought it'd be good for us to just talk about additions and losses overall for this 49ers team. So some key losses that they had. Alex Mack was their center last year. I completely forgot about that, but he was their starting center. A pretty good vet center, now gone. He retired. Then their starting guard, who is another really good player, Lincoln Tomlinson, chose to leave via free agency. Then also at the right tackle spot, Tom Compton, former Bear, played phenomenally down the road when they had some injuries. He's gone too. Raheem Mostert, their running back that's been frequently injured, he's gone. DJ Jones, the defensive tackle, Arden Key, a depth piece at defensive end, is gone. Jaquiski Tart, who is their starting safety, is gone. And Kawan Williams, their starting slot corner, is gone as well. So they did lose a good amount of people in free agency. Now, who did they bring in? Charvarius Ward at cornerback from the Kansas City Chiefs. Ray McLeod, a wide receiver punt returner. Drake Jackson, who was a defensive end out of USC. They brought him in the draft. Ty Davis Prince as a running back that they kind of like. And Danny Gray, a wide receiver that has made some splashes in the preseason. So when I'm looking at this, it doesn't seem like they got better this offseason. I do like the addition of a Charvarius Ward, but when you are really looking at this at face value, you're losing. They got great play out of Tom Compton last year. We talked about it in the free agent episode. He looked very, very good. And then Lincoln Tomlinson, we're going to be talking about this when we start breaking down the running attack, the passing attack. The middle of this 49ers line is weak. With Alex Mack gone, with Lincoln Tomlinson gone, that was a big piece in this interior now gone. Now when we go through this, you'll see who they have out there, and it's nothing really to write home about. Aaron Banks, Jake Brendel, Spencer Burford, probably mispronouncing that name, but it's a lot of low-level talent on this interior of the 49ers offensive line. So I just want to be on the lookout for that because it just doesn't look too crazy. Like I always think of this amazing offensive line, and right now you just kind of have two tackles. But let's move forward though. I want to just kind of also level set because this is the first game of the season. I want to just talk a little bit about the rankings overall. And one of my favorite rankings is DVOA. This is Football Outsiders number, and it's kind of seen mainly from the defensive side as kind of a great metric to just kind of say where a defense is rated. If you haven't listened to one of our previews or post games during the regular season, this is one of our favorite stats to kind of go off of because it's a great metric rather than just the actual yards. Like, for example, the Bears had great yardage, but were they really a great defense? This is where DVOA is incredible. So I wanted to just talk about the Bears' projected DVOA standings. So Football Outsiders, they're looking at the teams and they say, this is where we think this team's going to be rated. So overall, they rank the Bears as the 24th best team. Fair, not great, not terrible. 24th, I'll live with that for right now. And then hopefully we keep on going up. But our offense, they ranked it 28th out of obviously 32 teams. And the defense, this is where I was surprised. Defense and special teams, we were ranked 10th. I mean, I guess special teams I'm not too surprised about because Santos has been good. And Gill looks like a good punter. But the defense ranked 10th, which I thought was crazy, which I thought was awesome because this is a defense that I think a lot of people are sleeping on and not really talking much about, myself included. And they're ranking them 10th. That's really great praise from a highly respected company out there with Football Outsiders. But let's flip over to the 49ers. Now, we were 24th overall. They're only 19th. And also their offense, we were 28th. They're 19th. And also their defense is 13th. We're 10th. And their special teams unit, sorry, Robbie Gold, but is ranked 29th. Obviously, special teams wins championships, and that's really what you got to focus on. But I wanted to bring this up because I think that it just kind of gives a different perspective on this because a lot of people, I think, are just throwing the 49ers into the championship. I was just watching NFL Network, and they're going crazy about the 49ers, saying Lance is going to be incredible. Just, I can't wait. And now we see this where they're like, hold your horses a little bit. They're ranked 19th. Bears are only 5 spots below. And I think that a lot of people, especially the line, this is a home game, and people are saying they're a touchdown favorite over us. That is a huge line for somebody from an analytics community that's saying, hey, they're only 5 spots away. This is a lot closer of a game than a lot of the national media is giving us credit for. And especially with it being home, this to me gets a lot closer than what we expect. But let's now start to go through these actual lineups. So the lineups for the 49ers and the lineups for the Bears. So what I want to do is I'm going to start out with talking about this Bears offense versus this 49er defense. Like I said, this 49er defense, still the strong spot of this team, but Football Outsider says that, hey, we're technically a little bit better than them. But let's talk about this. Let's really kind of hone in on the running attack right now. So when you look at this 49ers defense, it's all about their big names, right? It's about Fred Warner, the linebacker in the middle. You know he's got the speed. You know he's able to make plays, and you know that he steals Pro Bowls from Roquan Smith. And he's kind of the biggest rival of him. But he is a very good linebacker, very good player. And for those that are watching, this is straight from PFF. Use this as an easy way for us to kind of see what the depth chart is and also what PFF generally kind of thinks of these players. So it's really Fred Warner as that middle linebacker. Then you go over to a Nick Bosa. Obviously, we know he on the edge, one of the best edge rushers out there. Basically a good all-around player, to be honest with you. And we already know that that's going to be a fear. And then in the middle, they have Eric Armstead, a fearsome defensive tackle, and then also a Charles Omenihu, who is more seen as a good pass rusher than more so a run stuffer. But still, this defense, this front four, this front seven is interesting because I know that Bosa and Armstead get a lot of praise, but then you go to the other players, Javon Kinlaw, who is a sought-after rookie. This is his third year in the league. Is he going to take a jump? The first 2 years, he didn't look that great. And that's where I want to see, does he take a third-year jump? He's a defensive tackle for them, and can they kind of win the point of attack up front? And the other player, Ebukam, who is their other edge rusher, more of a first and second down rusher. So think of it like a probably how we're going to use Al-Qadim Muhammad. It's going to be very, very similar to that. He's more of a run stuffer than anything else. But I think overall, you're looking at this team and it's just solid players. And also Al Shahir is kind of their Sam linebacker, a nice Sam linebacker out there, to say the least. So they're going to have good linebacker play because Dre Greenlaw is going to play good linebackers, two superstars, and solid play. And that's what makes this defense so good. There's not a huge weak link. You could say maybe some of the defensive tackles besides Eric Armstead, but you're really kind of pushing for something. And Drake Jackson's probably going to be more of a third down pass rusher out of USC. So this front seven is going to be very good. And that's where we are going to have our work cut out for ourselves. The starting offensive linemen, Braxton Jones, Cody Whitehair. We'll see where Lucas Patrick ends up. It might be Patrick. I do think it's probably going to end up Mustapher at center, Patrick at right guard. I hope I'm incorrect about that, but we shall see. If anybody else sees anything new that comes out while I'm chatting, just let me know in the comments. But then Larry Borum will be your starting right tackle. So the big question, what do I think about this Chicago Bears running attack? Now, to be honest with you guys, I know that this team is built off of running the football. And I know that that's going to be a big thing that we're going to be trying to do. But the thing that gets me nervous about this is, how well did we run the football in the preseason? We didn't. We didn't run it well. And does that mean all hope is lost? No. I still point back to the whole Kansas City Chiefs thing with my friend Nate Mindham on the Q It Up network, when he was saying that they started off bad because they were switching people around and they weren't able to gel. And then throughout the season, they were able to gel. So if the running game doesn't look good week one, don't freak out. Don't panic. They just need to get some reps together and just learn how to know where everyone's at. Because still to this day, they're still swapping people out on this offensive line. So we can't expect people to kind of build that cohesion, build that chemistry if we just keep swapping them out. I think from a passing perspective, we should be fine. But it's that the run block that I get a little bit nervous about. I think overall, David Montgomery, if he averages 4 yards a carry, to me, that's a huge success. I don't think we're going to be able to run the football a lot on them. I actually lean more towards the pass, and especially because Fields has a little fire underneath him, and same with Darnell Mooney. I feel like we're going to be passing, and I feel like we're going to try to prove them something in air superiority. And that's how I would also want to attack them. I think we still run the football. This isn't Matt Nagy where, hey, we're going to run twice and, oh, that didn't work. So we're never going to run the football again. We're going to run. We're going to establish, we're going to make sure that we have a good balance. But I don't think we're going to have too much success, if that makes sense. So to me, if I'm looking at who's going to win, the Bears running offense or the opposing run defense, I'm giving the advantage to the 49ers for right now for the run defense. I also think too with Fred Warner, maybe they can potentially stuff Justin Fields a little bit better. I said that last game and Justin Fields ran for over 100 yards. So we shall see what happens, but I think overall the running game probably won't be as good as it will be, say, 6 weeks down the road. They need time to gel and get things going. But let's go and talk about this passing attack. Our passing offense versus their passing defense. Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw, good pass coverage linebackers. I think that they're solid out there. So in the middle, going against tight ends, they're going to be good. They're going to be good players out there. But the other thing to look at are these cornerbacks. So Charvarius Ward, good solid corner on the outside. And then you also have Emmanuel Mosley. Nothing like amazing, but just solid. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Jalen Johnson, just a little bit of a lesser version of him, where he's not a huge household name, but he's a good player. So just because a lot of people have never really heard of him, don't think that he's some trash player out there. Emmanuel Mosley can play. He's a good player. So to me, you have two good outside corners, right? But the big question is going to be the rookie, Samuel Womack, who is the slot corner out of Toledo. So this preseason, he had a PFF grade of 90, which is elite. So he really kind of showed, hey, he can play at that slot corner position and has played pretty well. I'm going to pull up his college grades. In college, he kind of graded in the 70s. I don't know too much of him coming out of college, but played for Toledo, 5th round, had some solid average grades out there. So maybe we try and attack this rookie, especially in the slot, that wasn't highly regarded. Yet again, has played well in the preseason, but that's something I'm going to ask Steph tomorrow just to kind of get a little bit more of a rundown on Samuel Womack. But maybe the Bears could potentially attack him a little bit because we have a lot of players that can play that slot position, and maybe we can throw him off just a little bit. But also, I want to kind of call attention to the safeties. And this is where I think we could maybe pass the ball a little bit more than necessarily run it. They have George Odom, who solid, not a great safety in the back end, but then also you have Hufunga. I'm not even going to attempt the first name, who had a pretty good rookie season last year. But to be honest, they're not world eaters out there. They're not phenomenal players. And this is where like a defense can just be really good. It has a couple star players with Warner, Bosa, and Armstead, but then you fill it in with just kind of some of this average, solid, and also some good players. And now you have a great defense. And that's what makes this team so difficult. So I think overall, maybe we can take the top off of this defense, trying to attack them a little bit deep, try to attack some of these safeties. So I think that we can have some success passing the football against this defense. But I know that a lot of people aren't even going to be worried about how much can we pass. The big question is Justin Fields. Can he stay upright? Because I believe last time that we played, he was sacked, 4 times, I believe. And then he had that crazy run to kind of escape and then make something happen. Now, the thing with this game, we've already started to see this. This is not Matt Nagy. They're not just going to keep him in the pocket and hopefully everybody blocks. They're going to be moving the pocket. They're going to be trying. I don't even want to call it like a trick play. It's schemes. It's trick schemes that they haven't seen before with this team that they're going to try and run. They're going to be moving the pocket. They're going to be getting him outside. They're going to be trying to trick this defense. And that's where I don't think that they're going to get 4 sacks. I think too, yes, Larry Borum played very good against Nick Bosa. I don't want to put all my cards in on Borum having another great game against him because it is Nick frickin' Bosa. But I think too, when you look at these tackles, Braxton Jones and Larry Borum aren't terrible. And Cody Whitehair is a solid guard. It's just going to be the question is going to be that interior. I'm not as worried about Nick Bosa as I am about Armstead because I feel Armstead, whoever's in there in that middle, it's either going to be a banged up Lucas Patrick or Tevin Jenkins, who Tevin Jenkins is just an entire story with this team. But that's something that that's what makes me nervous. Eric Armstead versus Tevin Jenkins and versus that right guard spot. That's pressure right up the middle. That's something that could really be disruptive for this team overall. That's what I'm nervous about. Not necessarily Nick Bosa, not taking anything away from Bosa. Bosa's going to have his. Bosa's going to make some plays. He's going to cause some havoc. He's going to have to get doubled. But I feel this team, it's easier to kind of scheme for that because you can have Kmet chip him. You can have Ryan Griffin, the vet, chip him as well. So there's a lot of different things that we can do to kind of protect from Bosa, but Eric Armstead up the middle, especially the way that our running backs have been blocking, that's where I get a little bit nervous. But I think overall, I just think that we're going to be coming out with so much fire with this passing attack, and I think we're going to be attacking. I think we're going to be trying to prove something wrong. Fields seems like the guy, and I hate saying this, he kind of seems like he has a little bit of that Aaron Rodgers where it's like he holds a grudge and he wants to beat you. I feel like Justin Fields is going to do that. He's holding a grudge. You picked Trey Lance over me. I feel Justin Fields is going to go out there and just try to dominate a little bit more because of going against the 49ers. And Darnell Mooney, I can't even imagine being Darnell. You put up 1,000 receiving yards, and all you hear with the national media is the Bears have nobody to throw it to. You're probably sitting there going, dude, I can play. I can catch. I can run routes. I can do it all. And I just can't wait to see this team. And that's why I'm just excited about this. I think that this Bears team is going to do well. And that's why I'm giving the edge to this passing offense. It might sound crazy to some people, but I feel for most of us Bears fans, we believe in this. I believe in this offensive line that they're going to be able to hold up. The interior is going to be interesting. But I think with chips, you can handle Bosa, but Armstead, you better be teaching Montgomery and these running backs, hey, there might be some stuff coming up the middle. You need to be looking out for these guys. And then hopefully everybody holds their own. But I think with the movement, I think we were able to kind of counteract that. But let's move on to the next group. So we just previewed the Bears offense. Let's go over to the Chicago Bears defense. Like we said, the 10th rated Chicago Bears defense, according to DVOA. Super glad that that the Bears have been ranked better, but also down in the comments, Tiff, Justin Fields said he's glad the 49ers skipped him. I love it. I saw him say that too. And honestly, I was so glad that they also decided to go with Trey Lance because I remember watching the draft, my brother, and we were saying like, dude, they just got Trey Lance. Hopefully Fields can drop. And we're going, oh my God, Fields is dropping. That's the guy that we want. And yeah, so now we got him. And I can't wait to see him this week. But let's go over to the Chicago Bears defense. It's like we said, kind of 5th ranked. We know what we're dealing with this Bears defense. And we will start off with just the passing defense. Now, right now, Kindle Vildor is slated to be our starting corner. Now, I know what we already know about Kindle Vildor. For those that are looking at this graphic, you're seeing the whopping 106 out of 116th rank from PFF. So not a lot of love for Kindle Vildor, and rightfully so, to be honest with you. So Kindle Vildor not looking not looking great according to last year. But this year, in the one game that he played, not bad. You got to give him a chance. He's going out here and he played well when he had an opportunity. Do I think all of a sudden he's going to be an all-pro? No. But do I think, is it possible that he can play like an average corner? Yeah. New system forces him to be a lot more physical and not really rely too much on, he just seemed like a bad fit in the Fangio system. So give him a new chance. And if he's not doing well, maybe bring someone else in, maybe see if Thomas Graham's healthy so that he can kind of move up. You have different options out here, but Vildor is the guy. But that's the biggest question mark that I have for this passing attack. But let's actually flip over to the 49ers offense because there's probably a lot more to say about this. Now, the passing attack, I'll tell you this. Trey Lance does not impress me. I've watched the games that he's played, and I don't get why they don't just put Garoppolo in. I don't know what it is. It seems like Shanahan's just trying to be like, if I had a great quarterback that I want, I can do whatever I want with them, and I'm going to show you guys what I can do. Trey Lance has not been that good. Just to me, it's all about Shanahan and what Shanahan puts him in. And from the games, he doesn't look great. He's going to always try and run the football. So I think if you're able to keep somebody spying on him and force him to pass the ball, you should be able to win. It's like the Trubisky thing where the Packers would always say, just force him to pass the ball, and then you can beat the Bears. So force Lance to pass the ball, and I'm feeling pretty good right about now. So Trey Lance, not a big fan. I don't think he's going to make me a believer. Even if he does well, I'll still blame it on Shanahan. I don't think he's that good of a player. That's why I can't wait to talk to Steph tomorrow, because I want to hear what a 49er fan has to say about Trey Lance. I don't get the hype. I don't get it. I haven't seen it. But then you go to the outside, and something that definitely helps him is you have Deebo Samuel, who's one of the biggest weapons in this league. Deebo torched us last game, to say the least. Now, that's something that we need to make sure that we're all out there on. And I remember Deebo, this is just where we never tackled. We never gang tackled. We never kept running to the football. And we never, like, that lack of discipline that we had last year should hopefully turn into us locking down Deebo, like locking him down more so just like not having him completely go off against us. So I'm hoping that we can at least do something against Deebo and hold him down. Same with Ayuk. It's all about swarming to the ball carriers, not making mistakes, staying disciplined, because Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel are two wide receivers that are going to give you fits because they can make people miss. But the other person to look out for is Jawan Jennings, their slot wide receiver. Nothing outstanding that I've seen on tape, just a solid player in the slot that they're trying to incorporate more and more and more. But let's actually talk about this offensive line, because I think that this is going to be the biggest thing, because if they can win at the point of attack and they can win with this offensive line, it's going to be a long day for this defense. And like I was saying before, this offensive line isn't as good as what I thought going into this. I think when we think 49ers, we think offensive line, we think grit, we think this craziness, like, oh man, they're going to be blocking like crazy. But right now, they only have two people. Trent Williams, yeah, it's like, okay, you have the best left tackle in the league. You got that. Was absolutely lights out last year. I don't think he's going to be as great as he was last year, because he should kind of regress to the mean a little bit, but he'll still play like the best left tackle in the game, or one of the best left tackles in the game. And then on the other side, you have Mike McGlinchey, who's been a kind of like that good level right tackle, a good player that I wish that we would have on the team, but not great, I would say, by any stretch of the imagination. But you just have an elite, top-notch, all-pro level left tackle and a really good right tackle. But when you look in the middle, they're weak on that inside with Banks, Brendel, and Burford. So Aaron Banks only had a 56.9 blocking grade from PFF, did not look that good last year. Now he's your starter. Brendel, same thing, not a good player historically, has not played well. And Burford, What I can tell you about him right now, I'm just going to load up his stats, but what I remember seeing was that he didn't look too great over the preseason. I'm just going to load up his PFF stats just to see what he graded. 52. That's not good. His pass blocking, 32.3. So this should be the Justin Jones game. This should be the Armon Watts game. I'm looking at that right guard spot, and I'm going, we got to attack this guy. We need to be just, guys, this is someone that we can just constantly be in the face of Trey Lance and force him off of his reads. If you get him pressure right up the middle constantly, that's going to throw him off. We don't really like to blitz a lot with the Colts defense. So, I mean, yet again, maybe Alan Williams changes things up and we do end up blitzing a little bit to kind of throw them off. But I think overall, like that right guard spot, we can just be constantly attacking. And that's the thing that gets me excited. If Kittle can't play, yeah, you have Juszczyk and Williams that could potentially block. And that's where I like this approach. This offensive line is not as good as I think we believe it is, or a lot of people are hyping it up to be. I love Donald right here. McGlinchey is Keith Van Horn. There it is. That's the comp right there. That's the perfect comp. I love it. That's exactly what it is. He's Keith Van Horn. But let's also tiff in the comments too. Trey Lance was not offered a team captain. Yeah, I saw that too. Here's your quarterback that's supposed to lead you to the next spot. And he's not offered a team captain spot. Same with Debo. And you kind of get Debo not getting it because he was holding out. And I think too, San Francisco might be saying, well, we have all these elite players, so that's the big reason why. But still, your quarterback that's supposed to lead you is not a captain. And I know I think it was Shanahan said that he was 7th in voting. He might just be saying that. He might just be sugarcoating it. But Trey Lance doesn't seem like the leader that Justin Fields is. Justin Fields has his team on his back, and they're ready to lead. They're ready to run through a wall for him. Trey Lance just seems like, don't mess this up, man. You're the guy. Don't screw this up for us. And that's why, too, like when I'm looking at this, if they don't have George Kittle, this team is not that scary because, I mean, you're scared of what Samuel and Ayuk could potentially do on the outside, but you have to require that Trey Lance is doing something. And I think that if this defense is disciplined, you can look really good against this team. And let me just pull up the backup tight end, Tyler Kroft. Tyler Kroft, very basic kind of backup tight end. You're going with just a standard backup tight end. Doesn't look like they have anybody that should be scary out there because Juszczyk is just their fullback. That's all he's going to be really kind of playing, while Kroft would be more of that tight end for them. So honestly, I'm kind of giving it this passing offense versus our passing defense. I'm giving it to the Chicago Bears because I think that this Bears defense, this passing defense, when you have, so we haven't even talked about the attack. You have Jaquan Brisker, who we know is going to ball. Jaquan Brisker is going to be showing them what's up. He's going to get an interception. That's what I think he's going to do. I think he's going to play well. I think he's going to get an interception. I think this is going to be good. But Kindle Vildor to me is the big question. Gordon is still learning, but hopefully they can just kind of stay disciplined. Nicholas Morrow, Roquan Smith, good pass coverage guys. It's going to be tough in the middle. And I think that these guys the linebackers are going to be playing well. But like I was saying, the big question, we got to get pressure up the middle. Justin Jones, Armon Watts, those three techniques, they need to be pushing that pocket. Blackson, show me how you're so good. I know when I was on Bears country, Nomad was sticking up for Blackson. That's where I want to see, can this interior, it's kind of weakness on weakness. I think our weakness is better than theirs. So I want to see this defensive interior really kind of generate some pressure. Guys, let's go to the final little matchup, the running attack. We've been talking about this offensive line. Without Kittle, if Kittle does not play, I think this is a completely different story because Kittle can easily neutralize one of your linebackers when he's going to the next level. And if you think about it, you have McGlinchey who can take out your edge. And then you can have Kittle that takes whoever the leading guy is and just take him out for that play. I think if Kittle is gone, I'm giving the edge to the Chicago Bears. I think Mitchell, yes, Elijah Mitchell is a good running back. Seems like the 49ers can get running games out of anything. But, and actually, now that I just said that, I'm actually going to kind of revoke that. I'm going 49ers running attack because also, I forgot to mention this too. It's going to be raining. I think that overall, just the passing attack is going to be hard. But even with the Bears, I still think that the Bears go heavy passing. I still think that they try and throw them off. But I think that the 49ers overall, they're going to try and beat us on the run. And they're going to be trying to run it behind Williams and just go crazy over to that side. And that's where I get a little bit nervous, honestly, the more that I think about it with Elijah Mitchell. And my biggest fear is the Bears stopping the run. I know that the Indianapolis Colts, the Colts have had like a top 10 run defense every single year under Eberflus. And I hope that we get to continue that. And I hope because of the hits principle, we're running and we're trying hard and we're just trying to ball out. But that's where I get nervous. And ultimately, I give that to San Francisco. So it's a 2-2 tie to me. I like us from a passing perspective, and I like them from the running perspective. I think that they're going to be better on offense and defense from the running perspective of the ball. But now it's time for us to finish this off and actually give an official preview. So we've gone through the offense and we've gone through the defense. So it's time for the special teams review. For those that are new, you're probably like, what is that? That was something that we always did back in the day with Johnny PayPal. So it's the special teams time. We got to go through special teams real quick. And honestly, there is something to be said about special teams for the Chicago Bears team. First off, we got to see Trenton Gill. What is Trenton Gill going to be doing for us? One thing that I do want to be on the lookout for with Gill, I don't know about you guys, but it seems like Trenton Gill has it takes a little while for him to punt the football. It takes a little bit of time for him to get the ball in the air. It might just be my eyes. I don't know. It might just be because I haven't seen football in a while, but it just looks a touch slow. So maybe he speeds it up and just something to be on the lookout for. But another thing is who's returning punts and who's returning kicks, because Velus is most likely not going to be playing. Did not participate today, did not participate yesterday. So I just want to see who's returning. We have a lot of players. My guess, probably just Dante Pettis for punts and maybe Khalil Herbert for the kicks. But another person to look for is the guy that we just picked up, the wide receiver from the Vikings. He's somebody that we need to be on the lookout for, Smith Marset, because I think that he was another player that can run back kicks and can return punts. But ultimately, I think they'll probably go with Dante Pettis. Considering Dante Pettis is playing his old team, the 49ers, look out for Dante Pettis to potentially have a pretty good game. But I will say, too, I'm excited to see offensive weapons and our wide receivers back out there playing all together, because we haven't seen Byron Pringle. We haven't seen all these guys playing together and being healthy. We might not have Velus, but at least we'll have majority of our wide receivers. So yeah, look to see who's returning kicks, who's returning punts, just something that could be interesting. But last but not least, I got to go through some game predictions. So like I said before at the top of the show, this Saturday, I'm going to be running simulations and we're going to be predicting the Chicago Bears game, what we think the outcome's going to be, or the entire season. So I'll run simulations to say, using AI to say, how many wins are the Chicago Bears actually going to get? But I'm actually running a simulation right now to see what pulls up. And I'm looking right now, Chicago Bears, 51% to win the game, 51.1% to win the game. And one thing that I did too is I did this beforehand. I removed the tight end George Kittle. I removed Kittle out of the equation and it raised our chances, as you could guess, practically to 52%. Doesn't mean it's a guaranteed win, but I think a lot of naysayers would be shocked by that, to say, why Why is a simulation giving the Bears 52%? But that's it. It's home. And honestly, I feel like the Bears are going to be playing with so much fire. I feel like Roquan Smith is going to be out there going crazy. I think that he's going to be trying to hit people, trying to show that he's the highest paid, that he deserves to be the highest paid linebacker out there. So that's where I think that the Bears are going to win this game. What's the score? Because it's raining, I get a little bit nervous, and because I think it's going to be a defensive battle. I still feel, even though that the analytics say 49ers defense is better, or Bears defense is better, I still think 49ers defense is better. But I think overall, I'm just going to go 20-17, the Bears win. Let me know down in the comments what you think is going to happen. What do you think the final score is going to be? Because I'm thinking 20-17, Chicago Bears end up winning. And what I'm thinking is going to happen, I'm thinking Roquan Smith is going to get a sack. He's going to force a fumble, something big. Roquan is going to have a game. At the end of it, we're going to be saying, dude, did you see Roquan out there? That's kind of my prediction. I think that's going to happen. I think Jaquan Brisker is going to come down with an interception. I was going to say he's going to definitely break up a pass, but I think it's going to be this welcome to the NFL. I think he's going to get an interception. They're going to try and throw it to Debo or Ayuk, and all of a sudden he's going to pick it off. I think we're going to get 2 interceptions. Might be a bold take. 2 interceptions on Trey Lance. I think it's going to be a good game, but I think that they do have a good defense. I think we're going to make the defense is going to play well, probably light up a couple plays. That's why I think 20-17 should be good. And we got a 24-14 in the comments right there. I think that this is going to be a win. And I'm firm by this. This team is coming to play. This team is going to be here. Here we go. James, 49-3. Let's go, Chicago Bears. I want to see this team win. This team, there's so much for this Bears team to be playing for. And I'm so excited for football to be back. I'm so excited for them to show, because also majority of the country is going to be watching this Chicago Bears game. It's going to be great. I feel like they're going to be talking back there saying, we have to show what we're made out of, what we can do. So I'm pumped. But like I was saying, make sure to like and subscribe, because we have some cool stuff. So tomorrow, bring your questions. I don't know when exactly we'll be going live. It's probably going to be more towards 9:00 Central Time, because I'm going to be recording with her on her show with Steph Sanchez, 49K, over on her show. But then she's going to be coming on my show. So then you can kind of bring some questions, because I just want to see, what does a 49er person who covers the 49ers think? And like I said, too, Saturday, we have the simulations. Just going to be cool. Just nerdy exercise that I want to go through, because I just think it's going to be interesting. And on Sunday night at 8:00, I will be wrapping up the Chicago Bears game, letting you know what I saw, and hopefully be celebrating a Chicago Bears win. So make sure to drink the Chicago Bears Kool-Aid, because I'm chugging it right about now, because we got to get this dub. So everybody, Unbearable Sports Podcast, we're out.
Yeah, she's got some nice long hair, and you know that she's a bad chick.
Thank you for listening to this Belly Up Sports Podcast Network product. Some said we go belly up, so we made it our name, and we're still here.